On the news tonight, Serap asks CBN to reverse ATM charge hike. FG calls for human deportation process for Nigerians in the U.S. While on the foreign scene, UN seeks $6 billion to ease suffering in Sudan. Good evening and many thanks for joining us on the major reports. I am Odubumi Ajiboye Agbola. Osun State Governor Senator Adeleke has urged President Bola Tinubu to intervene by calling the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Adeleke, along with State Commissioner of Police, the Director of the Department of State Services, the State Commandant of the Nigeria Security, as well as Civil Defense Corps to order for peace and stability to reign in the state. Governor Adeleke stated this at the World Press Conference held at the banquet hall of the Osun State Government House, Osogbo. Governor's Office Correspondent Oluwatobiloba Odonoga has more.
Addressing members of the pen profession at the World Press Conference held at the banquet hall of the Osun State Government House, Governor Adeleke alerted the nation to what he described as a deliberate plot to create chaos and anarchy in the state. The governor accused the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Adeleke, of orchestrating an attempt to enforce a non-existing court judgment to reinstate sacked local government chairmen.
I call this press conference to alert the national global audience about the deliberate plot to create chaos and anarchy in Osun State. I invite you all to expose a faceless anti-democratic agenda designed to enforce a non-existing court judgment on our local government.
Governor Adeleke alleged that Oyetola, in collaboration with top security officials in the state, including the Commissioner of Police, the Director of Department of State Services, DSS, and the Commandant of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, had been planning to use state security forces to carry out the illegal reinstatement.
I choose to alert the nation before my people are killed or nailed by a minister dropping the name of Mr. President in connivance with the Osun State security operatives obeying unlawful orders.
He clarified that the local government officials in question were removed by judicial rulings before he assumed office, not through his executive orders. Citing two separate federal high court judgments, Governor Adeleke explained that the chairmen and councillors elected in the 2022 local government elections were sacked following suit filed by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Action People's Party, APP, narrating that an appeal by the All Progressives Congress, APC, against the PDP suit was struck out.
The board of contention is embracing effort to return to office council chairman sacked by a subsisting court judgment using a different court decision, which has no consequential order. Let me make it clear that the said council chairman was sacked before I was sworn in as governor of Osun State, contrary to the lies being parlored that the chairman and councillors were sacked by my executive order.
The governor expressed concern that Mr. Oyetola, who is the former governor of the state and nephew of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was exploiting his influence to subvert the rule of law. Governor Adeleke further called on President Tinubu to intervene, urging him to instruct national security agencies not to obey what he termed illegal directives from Mr. Adeleke Oyetola. He also appealed to the Nigerian Bar Association and legal experts to scrutinize the court rulings and expose any misinterpretations.
I therefore appeal to Mr. President, who is the known Democrat, to insist on the rule of law by instructing the Inspector General of Police the Director General of DSS, the Commander General of Civil Defense, caught not to obey an illegal order from his nephew, Mr. Osun. The Osun State Security Chiefs should also be called to order.
Governor Adeleke will emphasize his administration's commitment to peace, one that Osun citizens would not accept any unlawful takeover of local government councils, and held Oyetola and the state security chiefs responsible for any breakdown of law and order. Speaking on the legal implications of the alleged plots, the Osun State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Jimmy Bada, strongly condemned what he described as an attempt to subvert the rule of law in the state, addressing the legal intricacies surrounding the controversy over the sacked local government chairman. Mr. Bada emphasized that the judiciary had already settled the matter, making an attempt at restatement through false and unconstitutional acts. According to the Attorney General, two separate federal high court judgments had nullified the 2022 local government election in Osun State, which were conducted by previous administration under the then governor, Mr. Oyetola. He explained that the court found the election process legally defective and ruled that the elected officials had no legitimate mandate.
The Court of Appeal at page 49 and 50, the last paragraph of page 49, if I'm just read out. Now, since it is the position of this court that there is no valid or regulating process to confer jurisdiction on the lower court to hear and determine the claim of the first respondent, there is no point in considering the remaining issues. A consideration of the two remaining issues has now become an academic exercise, which this court is not prepared to venture into.
He further clarified that while the All Progressives Congress (APC) appealed the PDP's court victory, the Court of Appeal did not issue a consequential order restating the removed officials, adding that the judgment obtained by the Action People's Party (APP), which also sacked the local government officials, remained in effect as its appeals was dismissed. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice assure Osun citizens that the state government will use every legal avenue to protect democracy and prevent any unconstitutional takeover of local government councils.
It is expedient at this point that I refer the House to the Federal Court decision in FC suit number FNC/OS/CS/103/2022 between Action People's Party (APP) and Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and 6 others, where the Federal Court held us at pages 47 to 48 held us. Furthermore, in the exercise of the power conferred on me by Section 6(a) and B of the 1999 Constitution as amended, I hereby make the following consequential orders. 1. The election of the local government council across Osun State held on 15/10/2022 pursuant to notice of election issued on 15/8/2022 is hereby declared unconstitutional, invalid, null and void for violation of the Constitution and breach of sections 28, 29, 32, 98, and 150 of the Electoral Act 2022.
According to the State Commissioner for Information and Civic Engagement, Oluomo Alimi, who decries the political manipulation and calls for public vigilance, condemned what he described the plot as an orchestrated attempt to destabilize the state using misinformation and abuse of power. Addressing the ongoing controversy surrounding the alleged move to reinstate sacked local government officials, Oluomo Alimi warned that the people of Osun must remain vigilant against political manipulation designed to create chaos.
And since there are 2 separate judgments, one obtained by the PDP, yes and no, another one obtained by the APP, the 2 parties are different, the 2 judgments with 2 different suits, the 2 suits were never consolidated at the Federal High Court. The Court of Appeal gave the 2 judgments in different dates. And so the 2 judgments stand, and from the 2 judgments, the election were annulled, and the council chairman and the councillor, they were asked to vacate.
The commissioner accused the former governor and current minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Mr. Oyetola, of engaging in calculated political strategy to undermine Governor Ademola Adeleke's administration. It is Oyetola's alleged directive to security agencies as an abuse of influence aimed at forcefully returning APC loyalists to office despite court rulings that invalidated their elections. The commissioner urged citizens to demand transparency and accountability from those pushing for the illegal restatement, emphasizing that the government has always operated within the confines of the law. He also cautioned security agencies against becoming tools for political interference, reminding them that their primary duty is to serve and protect the people, not individual political figures.
Let us agree they now go to the council. They will be guilty of three things. First and foremost, they will be guilty of disrupting the public peace. Secondly, if they get to a local government and do anything funny there, they will be guilty of destruction of public property. And the third one, they will be guilty of contempt. And we want the whole world to know that they should not test the will of this government. Any one of them that dare and try to go to any of our local government, who will file contempt of court before the federal court, we now expect them to bring the court of appeal of a different suit to come and defend it. So we are warning them now, as stated by our government, that we know our president to be a Democrat and somebody who respects the rule of law.
Oluomo Halimi called on civil society organizations, the media, and the international community to pay close attention to development in Osun State, warning that the state government will not only allow any unconstitutional takeovers of local government. It has been Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to reverse the newly announced hike in automated teller machine ATM transaction fees, calling it unlawful, unfair, unreasonable, and unjust. According to SERAP, the development will worsen the financial hardship faced by Nigerians, particularly low-income earners. The letter also cited Section 1C and D of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act 2018, which seeks to protect and promote the interest and welfare of consumers and prohibit restrictive or unfair business practices. SERAP noted that imposing exorbitant fees at a time when many Nigerians are struggling economically is unfair, warning that the policy creates a two-tiered financial system discriminating against economically vulnerable citizens who may not afford the extra charges. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has warned the Nigerian Labour Congress against its planned March 1 shutdown of telecommunications services in response to the recent 50% tariff hike. The Private Telecommunications and Communications Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the Association of the Telecommunications Companies of Nigeria similarly pushed back against the NLC's planned boycott of telecom services and shutdown of telecom infrastructure, arguing that such actions are misguided and could harm the industry. The spokesman for the NSCDC, Babawale Afolabi, in a chat with journalists, said the agency has deployed operatives of the base stations to prevent any illegal action by the protesters. The NSCDC, tasked with protecting critical national infrastructure, including telecommunications, expressed concern over the potential risk of NLC action could pose to national security and public safety. It will be recalled that the NLC announced its intention to shut down the operations of the telecommunication companies across the country if tariff hike announced by the Nigerian Communications Commission was not reversed by the end of this month. The Defense Headquarters has urged Nigerians to disregard the malicious allegations and support the efforts of the armed forces to enhance national security and promote the welfare of servicemen and women. The Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tuku Guso, in a statement faulted the allegations regarding Nigerian military's request for visas to attend the Invictus Games in Vancouver, Canada. He urged Nigerians to support the officers, men and women who sustained various degrees of injuries while protecting the nation. According to Brigadier General Guso, the need for accurate information at this time cannot be overemphasized. Brigadier General Guso said the Nigerian military received an invitation to participate in the Invictus Games with his team that comprised of 3 officers and 21 players, including the team's physiotherapist. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, has urged the U.S. government to adhere to established protocols when deporting immigrants from its territory. Mrs. Odumegu Ojukwu made the appeal in a statement in Abuja following a visit by the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills Jr., to the ministry. As Special Advisor on Communications and New Media, Magnus Eze, in the statement said the minister voiced concerns over the possible suspension of the U.S. Dropbox visa system, highlighting the emotional and financial distress faced by many Nigerians in the states since the new administration signaled its intention to deport certain categories of immigrants. She revealed that around 201 Nigerians are currently in U.S. immigration camps, with approximately 85 already cleared for deportation, noting that deportation affects not just those being repatriated, but also their families in Nigeria who depend on their remittances for survival and education. In the meantime, the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, has explained that the United States of America, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump's tough immigration policy, suspension of U.S. International Development Agency intervention, and others have negatively impacted Nigerian economy. The Chief Executive Officer of CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, disclosed this in a statement titled Trump Effect on Nigerian Economy. Dr. Yusuf stated that diaspora remittances may be affected by the current immigration policy of the Trump administration, stressing that a huge number of diaspora Nigerians, estimated at 500,000, many of whom may be affected by the current immigration policy on documentation. Major Reports continues in a moment. Stay tuned.
Don't worry, we'll talk later, yeah?
Buddy,
how far?
give me small spot, I beg. Make I play game, I beg.
Oh, yeah, now.
Thanks, G. Yo, she's in fact don't come out.
Buddy, how far now? I got you.
Buddy, I beg, make I connect, I beg. I need to stream. That was that now.
Enjoy 100% data bonus with night data. Dial *312# to enjoy.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra high-speed data.
Glow Unlimited.
Reverend Victor Afolabi of the First Baptist Church, Agurodo, in Ejigbo local government, has harped on the need for Christians to be righteous and be prepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ. Reverend Afolabi gave the advice at the final funeral service and thanksgiving for late Princess Ruth Oyetola, popularly known as Idewure. The reports.
Jubola Oyetola, who was born some decades ago to the family of Pa Oyegade Akoni and Madam Abel Oyegade, was laid to rest at a residence in Agodo after funeral service and Thanksgiving held at First Baptist Church, Agodo, Ejigbo, Osun State. In sermon, Reverend Victor Afolabi described late Mrs. Ruth Oyetola as lover of God who showed everyone the way of God during her lifetime. Reverend Afolabi said Mrs. Oyetola has a special talent for treating sick children and taking care of young children when she was alive, which he said got her the name Iya Idewure. He said the late Mrs. Oyetola kindness and generosity extended beyond family as she frequently helped those in need within her community. He added that Mama was a member of the Women Missionary Union of the church and a financial member of the group called Egbe Balogun until her death. Reverend Afolabi charged the children to emulate the good characters of their late mother, Speaking on who the late Mrs. Mejubola was when he was alive, one of her sons, Reverend Dr. Oyetola Simeon, described his mother as a disciplinarian, a great soldier for Christ, whose legacy will for long nurture the children in the way of God. He maintained that his mother's devoted life of educating all who passed through her has turned many to people of value in the society today. He promised to continually draw from the well of wisdom his mother left for.
I will greatly miss her because our dad died since 1992. She never remarried. As long as she stayed in this village, nobody ever pinpoint to her of any illicit character. She's a woman of dignity, woman of honor, woman of respect. She sold almost everything to make sure that I was able to attain where I am today.
Welcome to the sports segment. Nigerian athletes Festus Ugube has secured a bronze medal in the swimming competition at the ongoing Invictus Games taking place at Vancouver, Canada. Ugube is a 7th member of the Nigerian Armed Forces who competed in the men's 50-meter freestyle event, finishing 3rd behind competitors from the United States and Australia. In a statement, Ugube expressed gratitude to the Nigerian government, the Nigerian Armed Forces, and its coaches for their support, saying the medal is not just for him but for his country and all those who have supported him on the journey. The Invictus Games is still ongoing, with Nigeria's team competing in various events such as track and field, archery, and wheelchair basketball are expected to win more medals for the country. While on the foreign scene, the United Nations has said it is seeking $6 billion for Sudan this year from international donors to help ease suffering in what is called one of the most devastating crises in recent times, characterized by mass displacement and growing famine. The UN appeal represents a rise of more than 40% from last year's for Sudan at a time when aid budgets around the world are under increasing strain, partly due to a pause in funding announced by US President Mr. Donald Trump last month that has affected life-saving programs across the globe. However, the UN says the funds are necessary due to the impact of the 22-month war between Sudan's army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, which has already displaced a fifth of its population and stoked severe hunger among around half of its population, which may worsen the situation. According to UN Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher, Sudan is a humanitarian emergency of shocking proportions and famine is taking hold. An epidemic of sexual violence rages while children are being killed and injured. And with that, we've come to the end of today's edition of Major Reports. It was edited by Michael Adeni. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola, wishing you a pleasant night and good evening.